Okay, so let's make sure everything is functioning. Looks like it. Welcome, nerds, to yet another kind of sort of impromptu live stream. Getting the news out any way I can because the month is just kind of nuts as far as scheduling goes. But we have all of the things to talk about. I think I need to open this in another window as I'm looking at it. This week in the news, the big title thing that we're going to talk about once we get to the movie stuff is Superman versus Fantastic Four. And it sounds like, I don't know this firsthand just yet, but it sounds like I was right. Not that we have final numbers just yet, but we're getting very close to that. So we'll probably be talking about that next week. But we also have a couple of passings to talk about. Sadly, very sadly, Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan very specifically. And then we have a lot of things to talk about as far as, I mean, there's a big kind of disappointing piece of news in music for Slipknot. We have a little bit of gaming stuff to get into as far as brand new games are concerned. We have one piece of comic book news, even though Comic-Con San Diego just happened. We have quite a bit going on in the TV and movie sections and no real rumors to talk about again this week. So all of that being said, let me double check a couple more things. Also, to Rumble viewers, I don't know what the hell Rumble's problem is, why they make it so damn difficult to stream with OBS, but unfortunately you're not catching the live stream because they just can't get their RTMP correct for whatever damn reason. It's apparently very hard. So you're watching the restream, and I apologize for that, but blame Rumble because they're still getting their back end put together. But let's again, I have to check a couple of things before we do this. I think I have to go into studio mode and going to reading. Yeah, I do have to do that. Okay. So we will open this in a new window real quick. Unstack and then pop that bad boy out. There we go. Did that work? No. Where the hell are you? Sorry, guys. It's not a generally nerdy stream without at least a little bit of technical issues at the front. Chris, you know this all too well firsthand. I apologize, but it will happen very momentarily. There it is. There it is. Okay, that is the change we needed. So let's get out of studio mode, and then we jump over to that one. No. That one. Ha! There we go. I win. Okay, so let's just jump out the gate. Actually, we have all of the setup. I did actually do a little bit of work this time. I'm dropping the ball because, again, I do this all by myself. So we're talking in the music section right now. Again, we're going to be talking about Ozzy. We're going to be talking about a little bit of other stuff as well. Let's just jump out the gate. Nope. Seriously, there we go. Good Lord, I can't keep things straight, and I apologize. But let's go. We do have actually a little bit of an update. So for those of you who don't know, I don't know how you could not know at this point, but there is the off chance that you don't, that Ozzy Osbourne, one of the four men responsible for the creation of the genre of music that I have spent most of my professional career making, has passed away. He had suffered from a number of health issues, and I don't know that there's an official statement as to what exactly it was that did eventually take his life, but on July 22nd, he was pronounced dead. Apparently, they tried to resuscitate Ozzy for approximately 22 hours, according to new reports. So this comes from Blabbermouth. Blabbermouth is a great source of news. If you just want to get the text and not hear my lovely voice read to you, then Blabbermouth is actually one of the places I get most of the music news for the show. But according to Blabbermouth, paramedics reportedly spent 2 hours treating Ozzy Osbourne before his death on Tuesday, July 22nd. Daily Mail reports that an air ambulance was called to Welder's house, the Black Sabbath singer's mansion in Buckinghamshire, UK mansion, on Tuesday morning. Just 15 minutes later, 10:30 a.m., the chopper landed in a field near the Osborne estate. Around 12:30 p.m., paramedics returned. They're based 27 miles away at RAF Benson near Wallingford, South Oxfordshire. Quote, "We can confirm that our helicopter was dispatched to provide advanced critical care to an incident near Chalfont St. Giles yesterday," unquote. A spokesperson for the Thames Valley Air Ambulance wrote to the Daily Mail. Ozzy's 85-year-old sister, Jean Powell, also spoke to the Mirror about the singer's death and said it was unexpected. He was frail, but it still came as a shock, she said. Still had plans, things he wanted to do. Details of his death, it's still too early. It's just so sad. I'm just thankful he died in England, she said. So that's all everything else past that's going to be fluff. But it was rough. This morning was the funeral procession that is still available from a number of sources up on YouTube if you want to watch. I watched a live feed from CNBC, which is what it is, when it was happening. But I did have to go to work before it ended, and then once I got home, I watched the Sky News broadcast, which had some interesting insights. But if you can find just the straight feed, that's probably the better way to go. Just that way you don't have all of the commentators and all that stuff. I think just today, now that the funeral procession has happened, I think it's just now, rest in peace, Ozzy, just now kind of sinking in to me as not a surreal thing, as an actual fact of life that Ozzy Osbourne has passed. So just kind of my history with Ozzy. 100% clarity, I was never a huge fan of Ozzy's solo career. Like, Blizzard of Oz was amazing. And I'm going to brain fart the name of the second solo record. Good Lord. But after those two records, Diary of a Madman, there we go. After those two records, I really kind of fell off. First 4 Sabbath records obviously are classics, but like, I was very privileged. I got to see Sabbath twice. I got to see Ozzy outside of Sabbath once, and I got to actually see Sabbath twice during the days of Ozfest. And I feel really kind of like somebody needs to take my metal nerd card for this, but like, the second time I saw Sabbath, I didn't sit through the entire set. The one time I saw Ozzy by himself, again, I sat through a few of the songs and then kind of split out, because wasn't a huge fan of his solo career. That's not to say I don't appreciate everything that he has done for this genre of music that has kind of kept me going for 40 years at this point. And it's just to say that I don't know, I couldn't get past the voice or something. Now going back and listening to a lot of that stuff that I just kind of dismissed as, it's good, it's Ozzy, it is what it is, but it's not anything that really is life-changing for me. Now going back and going, oh my God, what did I do? There's so much amazing music in there. And I don't know, maybe it's because I've evolved as a musician, maybe it's because I've evolved as a music appreciator, I don't know, but there is a lot more than just those 6 records in Ozzy's oeuvre of music that is absolutely incredible. And you can see in all of these bands that we listen to, and all of the bands that I report on for the show, in every aspect of this music, like, you can see the DNA of Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath very, very specifically, but even just Ozzy's solo stuff, the stuff that Randy started, the stuff that Jake E. Lee did, I don't know, to a lesser extent, the stuff that Zach did, him and his collaborators not only created the genre but shaped the genre multiple times. And it is definitely the world of music has a gaping bat-sized hole, or a gaping bat-shaped hole in it these days. And Ozzy Osbourne definitely will be missed. Like, again, I think it's probably because I just wrote it off for so long. I think that's why it was surreal, because like, I do appreciate anytime Ozzy music comes over a speaker, like if I'm at work, somebody's playing it at work, comes on the radio, whatever. Like, it's never something that I'm like, oh God, turn this off. It's always something like, yeah, I can jam to this. It's always solid. Even the less great stuff is still always solid. So, yeah, somebody needs to take my Metal Nerd card for the day, because I didn't appreciate what was there until it wasn't anymore. And it's a massive loss. So that is our moment for Ozzy. I went to Ozfest half a dozen times in my late adolescence into my early 20s. At least 6 times I went to Ozfest. One time I had to travel to Arizona just to go to Ozfest because it didn't come here. So like I am fully indebted to Ozzy Osbourne's contributions to music and to a lifestyle that I don't know, maybe his personal lifestyle is a little bit further than I ever want to take mine, but like fully want to do the musician thing. So that, yeah, absolutely a loss. But let's move on. Let's continue. We will talk about Ozzy a little bit more later, because there is one other Ozzy adjacent article here. But we have Metallica coming in next. Metallica is in talks to do a residency at the Sphere in Las Vegas, which is freaking nuts. So again, according to Blabbermouth, I think all of our music stuff is coming from Blabbermouth this week. According to Vital Vegas, Metallica is, quote, ready to ink a deal for a Sphere residency, unquote, in Las Vegas. The site, which bills itself as your go-to source for news and opinions about all things Las Vegas, reports that the heavy metal giants could play Sphere in the fall of 2026 after Metallica scheduled M72 World Tour dates conclude. After their scheduled dates conclude with another European run in July of 26, but specifics haven't been confirmed or announced yet. So I guess technically this is rumor. But this past April, Metallica guitarist Kirk Hammett was asked by Hollywood Reporter if he and his bandmates would entertain the possibility of performing Las Vegas Sphere, 17,600 seat capacity venue, which has transformed live entertainment since opening in September of 2023. Side note, if you haven't seen it yet, there's a video. They apparently play movies there from time to time, and somebody took a real quick camera shot of them watching The Matrix at the Sphere, and like all of the additional stuff that's going on around the movie screen, because the Sphere is like, it's something like 270 degrees of viewable screen, so it's wider angle even than an action camera. So they have a bunch of additional stuff, like the building scene where the helicopter crashes into the side of the building in The Matrix. Like you are in the city, like the building extends beyond the screen and the explosion happens. It's just nuts. So Metallica playing in front of this, that would be freaking insane. Then it goes into more details about the Sphere, which we don't necessarily care about. Once this is officially announced, we absolutely will be following up on it. But that is what we have for the moment. So let's continue on to again, this is our other Ozzy adjacent piece. And it has to do with Youngblood. So if you haven't watched it yet, Youngblood has officially released it, so it won't be pulled down. But his performance of Changes is pretty impressive at the Back to the Beginning show. Like kind of knocks it out of the park. There are many versions of that song out there, and I would say his is second only to Ozzy's, but Youngblood vows to play Changes every night for the rest of his life in honor of hero Ozzy Osbourne. Just a fun little piece, just another like Ozzy will live on forever. We love you, Ozzy, kind of thing. But Youngblood has vowed to cover Black Sabbath's classic song Changes at every one of his concerts in honor of Ozzy Osbourne. On Thursday, July 24th, the British singer, songwriter, and musician, whose real name is Dominic Harrison because we care, shared on Instagram where he revealed his plans to play the 1972 track each night, quote, for the rest of my life, unquote, following the Osbourne's death on Tuesday, July 22nd at the age of 76. I'm trying to, the quote continues, trying to compute the last couple days. Honestly, I'm absolutely effing shattered. The 27-year-old Youngblood who performed Changes Osbourne's final concert at Black Sabbath at Villa Park. Also, just the timing. I know it's been said a million times, but how incredible is that? Bowie went out after having just released a brand new record, which makes sense for Bowie because Bowie's amazing art usually shown through in the recorded side of things best, and then Ozzy goes out after having performed one final time in front of a crowd, which is where Ozzy's art shines through best. Like that man, just anyway. Quote, you have been my North Star for everything for as long as I can remember. From when I was misunderstood as a child to the way people thought I was just a little too much or strange in my life and career. I owe so much to you, your wife, and your family. You all gave me a road to run down and supported me when people would turn their nose up. You loved my life. Okay, that is correct. You loved my life so much and you adored music. It was your smile, man. You taught me it was beautiful to be out of the box. I promise you with all my heart I will try my best and I will make my life's journey to keep the spirit that you started and what you have taught me alive. I will give it my best shot. To sing this song for you at an event surrounded by legends inspired by you to a crowd that loved you was truly my life's greatest honor. And I vow to play this song every night for the rest of my life. You're my hero in every regard. I hope you're up there having a drink with Randy Rhoads. That's awesome. For the Prince of Darkness, you sure brought all the light to the world. I love you, Ozzy. Yeah. So just a really fun little thing that I felt like we had to, because we're talking about the passing of him. So how amazing he will be in remembrance. And then we have, like I said, at the top of this, we have a piece from Slipknot. There was this big countdown. We covered it, at least in passing, on the show when it was originally announced, and the countdown has come to an end. And, I mean, this is a little bit dated at this point, I understand. It was almost a week ago. But we didn't really do anything last week as far as the regular news goes, so... But Slipknot has announced that there has released, and is completely sold out at this point, a deluxe reissue of their self-titled debut album. Deluxe reissue is 9 vinyl records that have a boatload of rare material. I don't know that it's unheard, but rare material is definitely for sure. So we have the first record, the first piece of vinyl is just the self-titled release, or the, if you want to go super technical, it's actually 742617000027, which is the ISBN number for their self-released record, Mate Feed Cure Repeat. That is, I'm pretty sure, what they properly titled the record, but everyone just calls it the self-titled. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm 100% right on that one. So for the first disc of the vinyl is the record that we know and love. The second 2 discs, LP 2 and 3, are the Indigo Ranch mixes. The legendary Indigo Ranch mixes in 99. The band gathered at Malibu's Indigo Ranch, recorded breakthrough debut. These early rough mixes showcase raw energy. So this is, if you have the Digipack, a couple of these are on the Digipack. And they apparently switched the title for Get This. That's funny. I've actually seen them play Get This live, which is insane, and it was amazing, and I loved it. So yeah, you get some of those super rough mixes from the Indigo Ranch sessions for LPs 2 and 3. Which and the super rough Interloper, like, that's the demo version for Diluted. Yeah, the demo. Yeah, it's right there. Duh, demo version for Diluted. And then you get demos and alt mixes. For side one, we have demos. These are original demos recorded before the band entered Indigo Ranch. So these are ones that they did themselves. And then we have side two is Jay Baumgartner and Ulrich Wild mixing Surfacing, Only One, No Life, Sick, Purity, and Eeyore. Oh, Eeyore even. Nice. I apparently didn't pay that close attention when I read this originally. 5 and 6 is live music. So Hartford 99. We have months after their debut album, the band took to the road, and these live recordings showcase the band's atmospheric rise from headlining Hartford, Connecticut's legendary 1,200-seat Webster Theater in September of 99 to playing in front of massive crowds in the UK and Iowa in late 2000. So you get a live version. That is a lot of music, but again, it's relatively unheard. A lot of this stuff like has leaked out, or like it's just different versions of songs we already know. So the reason I say it was lackluster and possibly disappointing for fans is because there was, what was it, like 100 of these that they released? I wonder if it lists at the bottom. Come on, meow. But yeah, they printed a ridiculously small number of these. So they're insanely rare, which has pissed off a lot of the fans. So speculation is that once these have probably been sold and resold a number of times, then they're going to probably release a digital version of this stuff. Very likely also like a CD version that's much more easy to press, and they can send out a lot of them. Like a new box set that the rest of us can buy, because these went fast. They are all gone. If you find one, it is on the secondary market, and it's going to be a lot of money. So that being said, that is what we're talking about this week for music. Let's get back here to the fancy cam. Next up, we have gaming and tech to talk about. This week's gaming and tech, let me get back to my notes. This week's gaming and tech, we have a Hellraiser game. We have Warner Brothers Discovery shenanigans continue. We have the adaptation, the video game adaptation of the Toxic Avenger gets a release date. We've been talking about that for a while. Splitgate 2 controversy we're going to be getting into. And then surprise release on the Nintendo Switch 2, which honestly I kind of dig a lot. So let me pull up the first one. Oh, crap. Copy paste is hard sometimes, all right, guys? Just leave me alone. All right, so, and then we have to remember to switch this time, because last time we did this, I forgot to switch over, and that made things really stupid. So, switching over. Let's talk about Hellraiser game. There is a new game for Hellraiser that is in development. And it's not exactly what you might be thinking, because when I first heard this, I was like, oh, this is going to be like the Friday the 13th game with the asymmetrical multiplayer where one person is Jason versus 3 campers, and one side has to win, right? You get different versions of Jason and blah, blah, blah. That's not what this is. This is a first-person, not first-person. This is a narrative game. This is a single-player game is what I was trying to say. So this comes from Engadget. Calling all gamers with a love of horror films, Hellraiser is getting a video game adaptation. Saber Interactive is turning the cult franchise into a game called Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival. Clive Barker's 1986 novella, The Hellbound Heart, served as the basis for the Hellraiser films. He also wrote and directed the first installment, which premiered in 1987. Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival is a single-player game that has you play as Aiden while fighting your way through an action survival horror experience. You also must deal with Pinhead, who's known for harvesting human souls. Yeah, this is a creepy game. Saber Interactive states, quote, the Hellraiser universe is defined by its unflinching exploration of pain, pleasure, and the thin and terrifying line that separates the two. That essence is at the heart of your game. That's freaking awesome. So, fun fact about Hellraiser, Pinhead doesn't have a name. I don't think any of the actual Cenobites have proper names. So calling him Pinhead, actually, I don't even, in the script, like, there was no, I think he was just referred to as like the lead demon or something like that, lead Cenobite. So the name Pinhead has been given to him by the fans, but then all of the Cenobites have been given names by the fans. But yeah, there's the announcement trailer. If you want to go look it up, it is up on YouTube. It is pretty freaking awesome. There is no release date for this just yet. The team at Saber Interactive took an additional step to ensure fans of the movie franchise are happy. They spoke with Clive Barker himself to maintain an authentic storyline. There's no word yet on exactly when Clive Barker's Hellraiser revival will launch, but more announcements should come later this year. It will be available on Xbox Series platforms, PlayStation 5, and PC through Steam. Super freaking excited for that one. I don't know how much of a gamer you are, Chris, but I know you're into horror, so there's one for you, my guy. Continuing on, our next piece also comes from Engadget. And this is Warner Brothers. The Warner Brothers Discovery situation is evolving, ever evolving. They want us to stop calling them Warner Brothers Discovery. Earlier this summer, Engadget covered the news that the Warner Brothers Discovery would split into two giant media companies. Today, conglomerate announced the names of the restructured entities. The company retaining Warner Brothers Films, Television, and Game Studios, along with New Line Cinema, DC Studios, HBO, and HBO Max, will be called Warner Brothers. Meanwhile, the other entity, which holds the original company's full portfolio of live cable channels, including CNN, HGTV, Cartoon Network, Discovery, and TLC, will be called Discovery Global. So why the merger to begin with? Lord only freaking knows. Like, I don't think... portfolio of cable channels, like, really all this is it gave Discovery those cable channels. So but they already had, before the merger, check. Everything's back. Yeah. So sometimes my USB drivers kind of take a poop. So my apologies. We are back up, though. Make sure that everything is still good. Good to go. Alrighty. But yeah, so Warner Brothers. Discovery, that's where we were. Discovery, before this, didn't have all of the cable channels that Warner Brothers owned previously, but they had HGTV, the Discovery Channel, obviously, TLC, and the History Channel, I think, was also a Discovery-owned property. They had quite a portfolio. So really, this just expanded their portfolio because now they're separate companies again. So that's ridiculous. These companies have storied history of creative naming schemes, such as when Warner Media merged with Discovery and formed Warner Brothers Discovery. Also, parent, yeah, whatever, blah blah blah. It's just more shenanigans. That's kind of the takeaway from this one. So let's continue on. real quick. We have a couple more we got to nail for gaming and tech. Video game adaptation for the Toxic Crusader game that we talked about when it was originally announced. We now have a release date. So release date for this, it's going to be December 4th on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. All platforms for availability will be December 4th. Just a real quick follow-up on that one for us. There is a gameplay trailer, which you can go check out. Again, we're live, so we're not going to do it here. It's because I don't want to fight that fight with YouTube. Let's talk next about the shenanigans with Splitgate, because this is insane. So Splitgate 2 launched not too long ago. The follow-up to the hugely successful 2021 Quake Portal hybrid. Quake Portal? Really? Quake? That's the hybrid you're calling it? It's Halo and Portal. Come on now. It's returning to beta. So they're pulling it from proper release back into beta. The game launched last month, but developer 1047 Games is pulling it after deciding the release had been rushed. The company doesn't plan to release the project again until next year, 2026. No proper date for it yet either. Quote, "We'll be heads down until early next year, rebuilding major parts of the game to capture the spirit of what made Splitgate special." End quote. The founders said in a post in the game's Reddit community. Again, quote continues, "That means reworking progression from the ground up, adding more portals to our maps, simplifying monetization, refocusing on classic game modes you've been asking for, and more, which we'll share soon." Unquote. So they were listening. It's unfortunate that they didn't listen before they launched. Also unfortunate that it's going to take them another 6 months or more. I guess, where are we? Yeah, more, just over 6 months probably, to get us to a working level of gameplay. But at least they listened, because other game studios would have just doubled down on their poor decision making. So there is that. Not only will the sequel go back into development, but 1047 Games is also cutting jobs. That's after it already laid off some team members shortly after Splitgate 2's initial release. So this is something that gets reported on a lot. After a game launches, they make such a hubbub about companies laying off or reducing staff size, I guess is probably the more appropriate way to say that, because there are certain jobs that need to be done that once the game launches are either redundant or no longer necessary, so they can afford to do that. So like, there are certain people who work for these companies who know once the game launches, they're probably out of a job. So it still sucks because they are out of a job, but at least it's not, I mean, it's common practice in the industry. So I think making such a huge deal out of this is a little bit ridiculous. So, yeah, just going back into beta is nuts. But that's what we got on that one. Let's move to our final piece for gaming and tech. This one comes from comicbook.com. We have Mario Paint is on NSO. This was kind of a stealth drop. We got, let's get into the article. After about a year or so of rumors, it's been longer than that, Mario Paint has officially been added to Nintendo Switch Online. The beloved SNES game is available regardless of whether or not you have a Nintendo Switch 2. This does function on a Switch 1. You just have to have a USB mouse in order to play it properly. Using Joy-Con 2. However, original Switch owners can use compatible USB. There we go. If they have one handy. As a result, it should offer a more faithful experience. This marks the very first time that Mario Paint has ever been offered outside of the original SNES system, so it is a pretty big deal. This is a game that I played ad nauseum when I was a kid. Just totally lost hours upon hours of time playing Mario Paint. Drawing my own pictures, animating what I could, because you get like 5 frames of animation. It's super rudimentary, but hey man, it was something. Yeah, it was pretty epic, and it sounds like I don't know if we're gonna get into that in this article, but it sounds like they're adding functionality to it now that it's 2025 and not 1992. But let's continue reading, shall we? Um, Crap, I just lost it. There we go. All right, so Mario Paint was first released back in 1992, arriving shortly after Super Mario World. Mario Paint uses various assets from that game, but with a very different concept. Instead of being a traditional 2D Mario game, Mario Paint is closer to a creation tool, offering a number of different ways for players to make art. Also, music. You can compose music, which was also a very big part of my childhood, is composing music in Mario Paint, and then being super pissed off that I couldn't save any of them. These options include coloring and music creation. The game also features a fly swatter game, which I spent many, many hours playing as well, which has long been a favorite among fans. A new trailer for the game was uploaded by Nintendo and can be found below. The addition of Mario Paint should open the door for even more SNES games that offered mouse controls. There were a lot of SNES games that offered optional mouse controls, but one of the most famous is Mario and Wario. I don't know that I ever played that one, actually. Mario and Wario was created by Game Freak, the developers that would create the Pokemon franchise just a few years later. In fact, the game is even referenced in Pokemon Red and Blue. Despite the fact that Mario and Wario featured a full English translation, the game never saw a release in North America. That would make it a natural addition to NSO. It's worth noting that NSO already added two Super Nintendo games that once offered mouse controls: Super Mario's Picross and Nobunga's Ambition. Both of those games have now been updated with the Nintendo Switch Online, incorporating mouse controls. That's cool. All right, so here, no, it doesn't look like they're getting into the possibility of added functionality for the game. So yeah, that is what we got for gaming and tech, like I said. So let's do the transition now. We got moving into comic books. We only have one thing to talk about. Nope. No. There we go. Comic books is where we're at, not gaming and tech. All right, comic books. Our One Piece. Oh, we got to change. I almost forgot again. All right, comic book news. One piece of comic book news. And again, San Diego Comic-Con freaking happened last weekend, and we only have one piece that's newsworthy. DC celebrates start of 100th anniversary countdown for the publishing company itself. DC is kicking off its road to 100 years at San Diego Comic-Con 2025 with a full slate of events and activations spotlighting the 1935 to 1945 golden age era of comics. At this year's SDCC, DC marks the first step in a decade-long celebration leading up to its 100th anniversary. Starting with the 1935-1945 era, the publisher is honoring the decade that gave birth to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the comic book format itself. DC booth will showcase art. Yeah, that's, again, it's happened at this point. This is from, last week. Fans can pick up a free replica of 1940s Daily Planet newspaper. That's pretty freaking cool. If you were at San Diego Comic-Con, then congratulations, you're spoiled. Attendees are invited to wear the best Golden Age superhero attire and gather at the DC booth. So hopefully there's something cool from that, because I haven't been able to look yet. New scissor reel available, which is that video. And then, so 100 years. So it sounds like every Comic-Con between now and when we get to the 100-year anniversary, which is going to be approximately 10 years from now, they're going to be celebrating a new decade. So this one was 35 to 45. Next one's going to be 45 to 55, etc., etc. So that's pretty freaking cool. That, like I said, is the only piece of comic book news that we have this week. But we do... No, stop it. Stop it. Okay. Kill it. Now let's get into TV. Starting this one off with a bummer as well. Oh, come on. Cooperate, computer. Passing of another legend, Hulk Hogan, age 71, has passed. So Hulk Hogan, one of the most iconic figures in professional wrestling history, has died at the age of 71. TMZ Sports reports medics responded to a cardiac arrest call at Hogan's Clearwater, Florida residence early Thursday morning. He was taken out of his home, which, again, the same day as Oz. Yeah, same day as Ozzy. Transported by ambulance just weeks ago, Hogan's wife, Sky, denied rumors that he was in a coma, saying his heart was strong as he recovered from recent surgeries. The WWE legend had undergone a neck procedure in May. He's reportedly struggling with lingering symptoms, though insiders dismissed previous deathbed rumors. WWE has confirmed the news. WWE is saddened to learn WWE Hall of Famer, good Lord, I can read, Hulk Hogan has passed away, one of pop culture's most recognizable figures. Hogan helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 1980s. WWE extends in the 80s all the way through into the 2000s. This man was doing the heavy lifting for these guys in a lot of ways. Born Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan was the face of professional wrestling's explosion into mainstream pop culture during the 80s. His charisma, massive frame, and unmatched showmanship helped transform then WWF into a global phenomenon. Hogan's 1984 victory over the Iron Sheik marked the beginning of Hulkamania, a movement that inspired millions of kids to say their prayers and eat their vitamins. And also, his existence inspired a lot of kids to want to be in good shape and just be out there to fight the bad guys, right? So, like, people talking about how he may or may not have said something vaguely racist or overtly racist. Like, people say stupid stuff. That doesn't mean that you disregard an entire career worth of positive energy. That's just insane. Anyway, his signature yellow and red look became instantly recognizable, and he packed 93,000 fans into the Pontiac Silverdome for his historic WrestleMania 3 match against Andre the freaking Giant. Hell yes. Beyond wrestling, Hogan became a household name through film, television, and media appearances, from Rocky III to Mr. Nanny and the VH1 reality show Hogan Knows Best. He helped carry the WWE's brand for beyond the ring, far beyond the ring. In 96, he shocked fans by turning heel and forming the villainous NWO, New World Order faction in the WCW, launching the Monday Night Wars and helping WCW briefly overtake WWE in ratings. That is when I was actively watching wrestling as a kid. I remember the battles between the two and which one was better and blah, blah, blah. Hogan later returned to WWE, recapturing fan love and even winning his 6th championship in 2002. Complicated legacy. Hogan was inducted into just sad day in entertainment, let alone just anything else. But let's go to less sad things, and let's talk about a follow-up for a show that we've been keeping tabs on because it's a pretty good show over on Netflix, and that is Wednesday. Wednesday has been renewed for a Season 3 just before the Season 2 premiere. We are about 2 weeks away from the premiere of Season 2, and yeah, we now know that there will officially be a Season 3, which I can totally get behind. I'm excited for Season 2. I hope they don't screw it up again. I hope they do at least a little bit better than they did last time, but last time was pretty dang good anyway, so there you go. Let's continue on. This is kind of confirmation of rumor. We have Booster Gold Series moves forward with David Jenkins writing the pilot. So we now know that this is actually a thing, and they're moving forward with it. The Booster Gold Series is back in play. DC Studios and HBO Max are reportedly to be officially moving ahead with Booster Gold Series. Via Deadline, Our Flag Means Death creator David Jenkins is writing the pilot. It's added that Jenkins is also expected to serve as showrunner if the series picks up. Update. Jenkins confirmed the news via Instagram. It's true, y'all. I'm writing a pilot about this lovable goofball for HBO Max. Honored to work for James Gunn and very happy to inherit this project from Danny McBride, two of my favorite heroes. Or my creative heroes, rather. So, yeah. Originally announced by DC Studios head James Gunn and Peter Safran over 2 years ago as part of their DC Universe reboot, Booster Gold was pitched as a unique comedy adventure about a fame-obsessed superhero from the future using basic technology to fake his way through the present. That's Booster Gold, though. That's just kind of how he is. So, yeah, pretty awesome. Let's move on. South Park. Oh, boy. This, I think, has even evolved since I did this because they've aired another episode. But let's talk about South Park for a moment, shall we? So, South Park finally has started airing new episodes for season, 27? Let's just read the article, and then we'll go into, because I haven't watched it yet. I will watch it in spite of this, but I haven't watched it yet. So, Paramount Global, Park County, and South Park Digital Studios have signed a new 5-year deal with Trey Parker and Matt Stone. The agreement includes 50 new episodes and gives Paramount the exclusive global streaming rights to the full South Park library and all new episodes. So that is, where is it? 5 years and 50 episodes. That's 10 episodes a year for over $1 billion. Current 27th season kicks off today, so when this was written, the 23rd, on Comedy Central at 10 p.m. Eastern, streams tomorrow on Paramount+. For the first time, Paramount Plus will be the U.S. home for all South Park content, past and future. Includes all 26 previous seasons and new episodes going forward. The move solidifies Paramount Plus as the central streaming destination for the South Park franchise. There has to be something more. Okay, whatever. We'll just talk about it. So, after this episode aired, and now they've aired a second episode, just kind of digging in. I haven't watched it yet. Again, I will. Again, the scheduling for this couple of weeks is a little nuts, but I do know what happened in it, and it sounds like Trey and Matt are either they're one of two options I think are reasonable to get into on this. Either Trey and Matt are coming up dry with material ideas because they just don't know how to poke fun at this situation, or I think the more likely situation is they are being coerced. Maybe potentially the reason their deal was so lucrative is because that is, in order to get the $1 billion, they had to make fun of Trump somehow. Because in the first episode, they basically rehash the Hitler jokes and make Trump Hitler, where he's trying to become boyfriends with Satan. And Satan does very adult things to him. Again, from what I understand from the jokes. And then at the very, very end, they play an AI video of President Trump naked, where he has a very small member, if you will. And that's the joke, is he's got a small dick. That's the whole joke. And then it starts to talk to him, apparently, at the end of this video. And you can look up just the video somewhere. I don't remember where. I saw a headline where people were uploading it. And I have forever said, and will continue to say, in spite of this, that if you don't think South Park is funny, then you're watching it wrong, because they all very regularly are working on many multiple levels. And this, I think, is potentially the exception to that rule, because I don't see a deeper level to this. Again, maybe that will change once I've actually watched the episodes, because again, they lean into the Trump and Satan stuff in the second episode of the current season. And I mean, someone put it very eloquently on, I think it was on Timcast, where they said the sign of a good joke, when you're making the joke at the expense of somebody, which is fine. You make jokes at the expense of President Trump all you want, because there's a lot to make fun of. But the sign of a good joke in that instance is that you cannot replace the target of the joke with anyone else and have it still work. So being as they already have made this joke at the expense of Adolf Hitler, and now they're just making the same joke at the expense of Trump, means it's kind of lazy inherently. And then the small dick stuff is like, you could say that about literally any man and have them be mad about it, and that would still be kind of funny depending on how you make the joke. But like for it to be something specific about a person, like it's lazy if you aren't doing something that only applies to that person. So for Trey and Matt to be getting lazy in season 27 when they're kind of more popular or more famous and popular now than they ever have been, there's got to be some other element that we don't know about for that to make sense. Because like there's plenty of it makes fun of the Epstein stuff, like make fun of the we're gonna release it, we're not gonna release it, we're gonna make fun of that's super topical. It takes them literally 4 days to create a new episode. So how hard is it to make that joke? How hard is it to have that even be the impetus for the entire season? Like, it just seems super, super tired, and I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm an idiot. Somebody please correct me. But until that happens, we're gonna move on. Next up is another real quick follow-up in the TV section. We have another, release date announced for, or renewal date rather, announcement for season 5 of Invincible. Invincible is officially getting a 5th season. Prime Video confirmed early renewal for the adult animated series, superhero series, while also noting that season 4 is scheduled to return in 2026. Announcement came with the casting news as well. Matthew Rice will join the voice cast for season 4. The series is developed by Skybound Entertainment via and Amazon MGM Studios and streams exclusively on Prime Video in over 240 countries and territories. Blah, 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 blah. Season 3 broke records. Really? Became Prime Video's most watched animated season. Yeah. Okay, that's not really hard to do because they don't have a whole lot of quality when it comes to the animated stuff. So that's cool. Except for they have the Evangelion movies, so that's quality, but varying degrees. So then our last piece in TV streaming news comes from Engadget. And this one is Amazon is developing a Wolfenstein TV show. Wolfenstein, one of the OG first-person shooters, is getting a TV show. So, following the success of Fallout, Amazon is turning its attention to another video game adaptation. The company is reportedly developing a series based on the Wolfenstein franchise with the help of some of the creative team behind Fallout, according to Variety. The details of how the Wolfenstein show will adapt the alternate history action of the games are still under wraps, but the subject matter remains unfortunately time. Oh, good Lord! Come on, Engadget, stop inserting your opinions into this. This is not an opinion piece. Show's logline is the story of killing Nazis is evergreen, according to Variety, which seems like a direct acknowledgement of that fact. Ugh, get over it. Patrick Somerville, the writer and showrunner of Station 11, which is the other reason why I wanted to talk about this, because not only is Wolfenstein kind of an epic title that they haven't been able to do much with recently, like it has not been super successful of late, but Station 11, the guy who was the showrunner for Station 11, which is another franchise, is another series that was cool, was a really great concept, and for some reason just kind of fizzled out. So I'm super excited to see what this dude has to do. Writer showrunner of Station 11 will reportedly serve as the writer of the Wolfenstein adaptation with Lisa Joy, who is Christopher Nolan's sister-in-law. She did with Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan's brother. They did Westworld together. They also are responsible for the Fallout series.
Athena Wickham and Jonathan Nolan, producing the show through their company, Kilter Films. The production company also made adaptation of William Gibson's The Peripheral for Amazon, which is fantastic. If you haven't watched it, you absolutely freaking must. It is a crying shame that did not get a proper second season because, oh my God, it was so good. The book I'm still working my way through, but the show was fantastic. And currently produces Fallout. While it might make sense to pair a new show with a brand new Wolfenstein game, the series has effectively been on hold since 2019. No kidding. Machine Games, Microsoft-owned developer of the last 5 Wolfenstein games, hasn't produced a new entry since 2019's Wolfenstein Youngblood and Wolfenstein Cyberpilot. The studio released Indiana Jones and the Great Circle in December of 2024. Given the tumultuous state of Microsoft's Xbox division, the series could be your best bet for getting more Wolfenstein, assuming Amazon decides to move forward. If this does well, again, assuming Amazon decides to move forward with it, if this does well, I bet Microsoft will smell the money and they will pull their heads out of their collective asses and let what was the name of the developer? Machine Games. Let Machine Games finally do something with this. Now, that then puts a lot of onus on Machine Games because I never played either of those iterations, Youngblood or Cyberpilot, but I did not hear good things. So, yeah, there is that. What else do we have? I think that was everything for TV. Yeah, that is the end of TV. Oh, no kidding. Oh, that's interesting. All right, so we're going to go back to music for just a moment. I need to find this. Oh, no, I need to find this. Where the hell am I? Research. Let's just open a new tab. Metal Injection. Metal Injection's better. Yeah, all right. So we have a real quick update on the music situation that we've been keeping tabs on as far as Josh Freese getting fired from Foo Fighters. Apparently, Foo Fighters have taken Nine Inch Nails drummer, and Freese is now playing for Nine Inch Nails. So the Foo Fighters reportedly found their new drummer in Ilan Rubin, a celebrated multi-instrumentalist best known for his work with Nine Inch Nails, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Rubin, who was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Nine Inch Nails in 2020 at the age of 32, making him the youngest ever inductee at the time, is stepping in just months after Foo Fighters have parted ways with Josh Freese. Freese had joined the band in 2023 following the tragic death of longtime drummer Taylor Hawkins in 2022. In May of this year, Freese confirmed his departure, sharing that the band had chosen to go in a different direction. While he wasn't angry, he was a bit shocked and disappointed. Rubin, a long-running live drummer for Nine Inch Nails since 2009 and a frequent collaborator with Danny Elfman. Also, Freese is a collaborator with Danny Elfman, so that's cool. Reportedly informed Nine Inch Nails frontman Trent Reznor last week that he had accepted a job with another band. While it remains unclear whether Rubin is joining the Foo Fighters as a full-time member or just in a touring capacity, sources say his move coincides with Freese rejoining Nine Inch Nails, where he previously served as live drummer from 2005 to 2008. That's freaking nuts, man. That's cool. All right. So, little bit of an update real quick on music things. All right. So, let's get back to our notes and return to our regularly scheduled programming. We have this. We have to go back to this. And now, our big headline. We have movies to discuss, which means we are talking about Fantastic Four and Superman, finally. I know sometimes the structure works against me, but I'm keeping it, man. That is just the way things go. So, let's talk about the situation with Superman and the Fantastic Four. Make sure I pushed the right button. Hey, look at that. All right, so box office numbers for Fantastic Four and Superman. Let's get into my prediction. The headline for this episode was that I win. I am right about my prediction. Though there's a little bit of a caveat to that, mostly in that both movies sound like they're going to be a little meh. I have yet to watch either. I plan on, before we get back to regular episodes, I plan on having watched them so we can talk about this in much more detail. But right now I have to go off of box office numbers as well as reviews from people I trust. Also, don't forget, w.gg is the channel partner. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Code Generally Nerdy at checkout gets you 10% off. Anyway. So, Superman and Fantastic Four. My prediction was that Fantastic Four would be pretty mid and that it would potentially do all right in the box office, but not. It wasn't going to be super great with the fans. From the performance of the numbers, we only have opening weekends, so we're going to compare opening weekends. But from the performance of the numbers, it sounds like that is the way of things. There again, the caveat to this, there's the second caveat to this, I think, is that Superman cost significantly less to make. So even though Superman to a certain extent is fairly incoherent as far as like storytelling goes, because it's more just kind of scene followed by scene rather than scene influencing the next scene, et cetera, et cetera. I'm brain farting words. In spite of that, in spite of this happens and then this happens and then this happens, it still seems to be scoring better with fans. We'll pull up the Rotten Tomatoes here in a second too, because I'm super curious about that. I haven't looked at that yet. So round one goes to James Gunn. This comes from Cosmic Book News again. Round one goes to James Gunn and the new DCU, as James Gunn's Superman flick is flying high and has managed to beat Fantastic Four's opening box office weekend. So Fantastic Four overperformed for its Thursday previews, bringing in $24.4 million, higher than the estimates, and beating Superman's $22.5 million on Thursday. If the trend continued through the weekend, Fantastic Four would have beaten Superman's opening of 125. However, Fantastic Four did not, because it is mid. We'll get into the things that I have heard and why that is in just a minute. But Monday update, we have the full numbers. Fantastic Four's weekend is $117 million domestically, with a $216 million worldwide gross. So not even $1 million in foreign box office. The Superman opening weekend was $125 million. So beat it out by about $10 million domestically. I don't know what the international numbers are. Fantastic Four only brought in $117 million domestically. Check out the daily comparisons below. Yes, that's what we want. Where are the daily comparisons? There we go. So, domestic worldwide for Fantastic Four is 216, but we don't have the domestic worldwide breakdown for Superman in this. We'll just compare the days, I guess. So first day, again, Friday, bigger for Fantastic Four than for Superman. Superman got 37 on day 2 and 33 for Fantastic Four. And then on day 3, so Sunday, we got 31 versus 27. So that is a pretty dramatic drop-off by comparison. Now, if you have not seen the movie and you're really sensitive about spoilers, because again, I haven't seen the movies either, but I do know what happens in both movies. So we're going to talk about that in a roundabout way. So if you're sensitive to spoilers or whatever, then, I guess click away, or if you're watching this in post, you can fast forward a little bit. But from the sounds of it, we have some creative liberties with both franchises, and I think the creative liberties with Superman are a little bit less discomforting than the creative liberties with Fantastic Four. However, it should be noted that the creative liberties with Fantastic Four are less than they have been previously, so that's why it is still doing an acceptable amount of money as far as the box office is concerned. It sounds like it will be somewhere over 600 million by the end of it, but it is not going to break 700 million, whereas Superman is on track that it could very potentially get much, much closer to $1 billion before it leaves theaters, which would mean that is by far the big winner, even more so because it cost them much less to make that, because you have huge names in Fantastic Four and you have relative unknowns in Superman. So, but again, spoiler things. The things that have changed that I think are going to be difficult for long-time comic book readers. We'll talk about Superman first because it's been out a little bit longer. Superman, there's two major changes, and one of those changes is actually James Gunn lying to us. The first of which is Jor-El is kind of evil in this version of Superman, in that he wants Superman to take over Earth. He wants Superman to be the ruler of Earth and have a harem of women, which is not anywhere in any of those comic books. So I don't know why James Gunn decided to have that change. I mean, it is, to his credit, it is a little bit of an interesting change, in that if that is the message from your father, that is what your father wanted you to do, but you end up becoming Superman instead, I think that's an interesting character change. It's hard for me to really get behind that, even though I do find it interesting, because like that is a fairly significant, like, basic change in the makeup of who this character is, but that we're not going to have that conversation right now. The other big change with Superman is Ultraman is now Bizarro, apparently. So, and modern Bizarro, not classic Bizarro. So classic Bizarro is from the Bizarro universe where everything is backwards. Hello means goodbye, etc., etc. So him being a hero means he's actually a villain, and he's very dumb, where Superman is smart, etc. So, but that got retconned, I think, with the New 52 back a few years ago. Like to the 2010s or so, maybe slightly more recently than that, I can't remember. But the new version of Bizarro is a botched clone of Superman. Why is this relevant? Why is the difference relevant? Because that is the version that they're going with for this cinematic universe. Botched clone of Superman is dumb and just kind of doesn't do super well without direction, without being told or controlled somehow, which is why Lex uses him as kind of a blunt object more than anything in the comic books, is because that's kind of all he's good for. He has Superman's DNA, so he is Kryptonian, and which means he's just as strong as Superman on paper, but really it doesn't work out that way because he's kind of a moron. Ultraman in the comic books is from a different universe as well. Ultraman is just as smart as Superman because he is basically the same as Superman, only he is the kind of leader, conqueror that Jor-El in this movie wanted this version of Superman to be, because he's a villain. He is the leader of the crime syndicate on Earth 2. And while they have never been able to do that very well in the comics, the last iteration that I remember reading was the Forever Evil version of the crime syndicate, and I dug that. I mean, again, it's still kind of, if you really think about it, plays out fairly weak, but was a lot of fun to read. Ultraman is evil Superman and is not a clone. So Ultraman in this movie, back to where we started, is a clone of Superman. And James Gunn told us there is no clone of Superman in this movie. There is no clone of Superman in this movie. There is no clone of Superman in this movie. And then we get a clone of Superman in this movie. So it's a little bit ridiculous that he felt like he had to lie to us about that, but like whatever. Also, why not just go with Bizarro, because that character exists kind of exactly as they have it, from my understanding. Again, have yet to watch the movie. From my understanding, as almost exactly as they have Ultraman in this movie. That is how modern Bizarro works. So why they had to make him Ultraman is beyond me, but yeah, that's why it's going to be hard for me to watch this. But getting into the things that they've changed with Fantastic Four. Now, again, fairly new out, so if you care about spoilery things, this is going to be kind of close territory. So we got a close approximation of all four of the members of the Fantastic Four in the Fantastic Four movie. By that, I mean Reed is kind of the smartest man in the world, but it's a world that doesn't really have superheroes necessarily, so that's not really saying a whole lot. And he is the leader of the Fantastic Four, but like kind of second guessing himself, and he's not as buried into his work to the point of neglect, which is a big character flaw for the comic book version of Reed Richards. Is he neglects his family because he literally always has the weight of the world on his shoulders, because he's always trying to protect it from doom. He's always trying to protect it from intergalactic things, and just like that is Reed's world. Is he is literally the smartest being in the universe, and so he has to use that intelligence for good, and therefore conflict arises. So Sue, not quite as young as in the comic books, which I guess you could count as a positive, but like her infatuation with Reed doesn't play out the same from what I understand, so it kind of changes the base character there as well. And also the fact that Reed pays attention to her changes the conflict between them, because these four characters in the comics, the reason why they work so well is because of their basic dysfunction, that they function as a family in that they're not perfect. They're arguably a perfect superhero team, and they make that dysfunction work for them, but it is those inherent familial conflicts is why we love them so much as the first family of comic books. So the other change is Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm is not woman. In the comic books, he's a playboy. He is a womanizing playboy. He does crazy things and is kind of super hot-headed, hence why he gets the flame abilities. Like, these things they reflect their abilities reflect their personalities to a certain degree, because Sue feels invisible to Reed. That's why she gets invisible, because he's so hyper focused on his work all the time. She feels invisible, hence the invisibility powers. Reed has to be everywhere at once, which is why he stretches. And then I don't remember exactly the character flaw for Ben. But I do remember, because, this is fairly inherent as he's become the Thing, that he is resentful towards Reed for turning him into a monster. He is depressed. Like, that is a major character tribute to Ben Grimm that is painfully absent from this movie, again, from what I understand. So I think, because this is the first family, because this is one of the most well-known superhero units in comic books, that is why they feel very familiar, but it's that uncanny valley nature of, like, it's almost there, but because it's not there exactly, like, it feels very alien. And I think that's a big part of why we have that dramatic turn. If we go back and look at these numbers, we have a fairly dramatic turn on day 2 and into day 3. Excuse me. So I think that's a big factor here. But again, it does sound like they're both going to do. Superman's going to do well enough regardless. Superman has already made its money back by most counts, because I think their total their total cost, that's the word I was looking for, good lord, total cost for Superman was something like 250 million or something. So they've surpassed that by now. They've crossed over 500 million. They're good. I think some reports have it as high as 375 million. And even then they're totally fine because they didn't do regular movie math here either. They didn't double the movie budget with the marketing budget. It sounds like they went in sort of cheap with the marketing budget, and even there, a little bit cheaper than we probably are even accounting for, because James Gunn is mostly the marketing. It's pretty much him saying, I made a movie about Superman, come watch it. So, being as Marvel did the Fantastic Four, obviously they did do regular movie math, and they have been trying to put this thing everywhere. I mean, I saw what was that, a car insurance commercial that had a Fantastic Four tie-in. Like, it's insane right now. So, I don't know what the estimates are for the Fantastic Four movie. Let's see if let's go. Actually, let's pull up the Rotten Tomatoes. And see what the Rotten Tomatoes scores are for this. Well, Superman. Oh, go away. I don't want trailers. I want the page, dang it. There. So we'll pull this one up. And then we'll pull up the Fantastic Four as well. Go away. All right, so pulling the both of them up. Oh, go away. Fine, I will. There. All right. What the heck, man? All right, so let's tile these. And we'll compare them. We have critics score. Oh, critics and audience score are about the same. So we have 83% for Superman critics score, 86% for Fantastic Four, which makes sense, again, because narratively, Superman sounds like it's kind of all over the place. And then a 91 for Superman audience score, and a 92. But how many? We have twice as many audience ratings as we do for Superman as we do for Fantastic Four. So that kind of makes sense. And I think a lot of those are actually kind of paid for. So do we have, I don't know if we have movie math numbers for this just yet. So we might have to go over that in a future episode. But yeah, we have pretty comparable as far as that goes. I think once we get more ratings for the Fantastic Four movie, the score is going to go down. That's just kind of how I feel. What is it? The garbage. Oh, I would do it off of the stream real quick. Smelly garbage, is that what the website was? Come on, meow. Stinky garbage. There we go. All right, so let's hit that up. Nope. 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 Nope. All right, so let's hit that up. Nope. There it is. Oh, stinkygarbage.com. Duh. So let's go back here. We'll untile these. And we'll go here and see what Stinky Garbage has to say about it. Because I think I trusted this audience aggregate a little bit more. Oh no! It's not been updated since Captain America. Oh, that makes me sad a little bit. That's unfortunate. Movies. Maybe. Nope. Has not been updated. That sucks. Well, all right. So, let's go check stream health real quick while we're here. Oops, wrong window. Doing all right. Okay. Back to the notes. Next up is a continuation of a long-running franchise favorite, and that is Evil Dead. The new Evil Dead movie has begun filming in New Zealand. Name of it is going to be Evil Dead Burn. Production has officially started on Evil Dead Burn, the next installment in the long-running horror franchise. Filming confirmed by director Sebastian Vanacek. French filmmaker Sebastian Vanacek, who also did Infested, confirmed the news by posting a clapboard on Instagram with the caption, Day 1 from 93 to NZ. Signaling the start of production in New Zealand. The hashtag Evil Dead Burn accompanying the post. Cool. Yeah, next Evil Dead in production already. That's a real quick one. Continuation, follow-up rather, for another movie that we've been keeping tabs on, and that is Meet the Parents 4. We now know the official title. I don't know if there's a release date for it yet. We will check. Focker-in-Law is the new Meet the Parents movie, so of course it is. Ben Stiller, Robert De Niro, Blythe Danner, Terry Polo, and Owen Wilson return for the fourth installment in the long-running comedy series, while Ariana Grande is joining the cast. New film's title is referenced in the surname of Stiller's character, Greg Focker. In the original movie, he endures a lot of painful, awkward hijinks while visiting his girlfriend's parents for the first time. Meet the Parents, which recently celebrated its 25th anniversary. That makes me feel super old. Became box office blockbuster with $330 million worldwide. The comedy of errors then spawned two commercially successful sequels, 2004's Meet the Fockers, 2010's Little Fockers. John Hamburger, who wrote the first three films, will also write Focker-in-Law. Stiller teased the fourquel, but there's still no release date for it yet. Oh, no. Focker-in-Law opens November 25th of 2026, so there is a release date. Cool. Let's continue on. We only have, one more piece left. All right. So this is... moving over to the MCU, we have new X-Men director talking about the new X-Men movies. It's fair to say Marvel's reboot will be recognizably different from the previous franchise and explore the scale inherent to the comics. It's very pretty language for comic book nerds. In a press conference ahead of the release of the Fantastic Four First Step, so this is a couple days old at this point, July 28th, Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige confirmed that what had long been speculated, Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier is helming the MCU's X-Men reboot. Now, in a new interview with the Playlist, Schreier told comic book movie fans not to expect a new X-Men movie that resembles the previous franchise led by Hugh Jackman. Quote, yeah, I think it's fair to say, Schreier said when asked if Marvel's take on X-Men will be recognizably different from what came before, adding as a joke that there's that red sniper dot out there somewhere, you know. Oh, because he's talking about, if he says too much. But to be able to explore all of the ideas that are inherent to that rich source material, but also at the scale inherent to the source material, that's like a very rare and fortunate opportunity, Schreier continued. That's very exciting. Director said earlier in the interview, what I can say is it's just inherently interesting and complex material. The core idea of what X-Men is involves complexity. It's an incredible opportunity with super interesting characters and much internal conflict. These characters are wrestling with their identity and place in the world. That's inherently interesting and complex material. Just keep saying interesting and complex, and see if it sticks. I hope it does, but really you have to get your writers to stick on that and not the fans, right? Feige let it slip to the press that the MCU's take on the X-Men would be far different from previous big-screen iterations of the superhero team by saying Schreier is, quote, going to make a youth-focused reboot that may be reflected in mutant castings, and it'll definitely be felt in the tone and perspective of the film, unquote. Just how the new X-Men heroes will be introduced in the MCU remains to be seen. Jackman played his beloved Wolverine from the previous X-Men franchise in last summer's Deadpool and Wolverine. No kidding. His original co-stars Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, James Marsden, Kelsey Grammer, Alan Cumming, and Rebecca Romaine are all set to appear in next year's Avengers Doomsday. Schreier's Thunderbolts is now available to buy or rent from home on PVOD platforms, paid video on demand. So that is at least promising. I'm not saying that we have high expectations yet, because our expectations are still pretty low, but that's at least a little bit promising. So, yeah, I think... Hello. We have somebody new joining the chat. WSP. Kamal? Are you there, sir? If you're here for the conversation about the Superman versus Fantastic Four, you have apparently just missed it, and that brings us actually to the end of the episode. So sorry, we are wrapping things up right about now. It has been just about an hour and a half, so that is the proper length of an episode round about these parts. Of course, now people start dumping in. That's unfortunate. But let's go back here. Thank you all very, very much for joining, even if it is in post. Because, I mean, that's where all of these get made anyway. I stream these just specifically because it's fun to stream and it's easier that way. I don't have to upload anything except for to Rumble again, because good Lord, Rumble, what the hell is your problem? But yes, so I was right about Fantastic Four. It is going to underperform when compared to Superman. At least that is the track that it is on. We will definitely keep tabs on this as it continues, because both of these movies will be in theaters for some time yet. I have yet to actually watch either of them, so we will be talking about them once that's happened. It's going to be a few weeks yet because there are still a bunch of scheduling issues that we have to deal with between now and then. So thank you very much, nerds. Before we get out of here, like I said, we have a couple of things to talk about as far as behind the scenes. Where the hell did it go? There it is. So we have our channel partner, Dubby. If you are unfamiliar with Dubby, energy drinks, they are good stuff. They make a orange cream energy drink that I freaking adore. I usually mix it with my protein, make a little bit of a pre-workout drink. And it's fantastic. I really, really like their Cali-O cream is the name of the orange cream. But the other one that has me super hooked these days is the s'mores. If you've never had a s'mores flavored energy drink, you absolutely must try it. It is freaking fantastic. Code generally nerdy at checkout when you go to dubby.gg. That is the place to get your Dubby, and it's the s'mores is just kind of out of this world. It is so tasty. It's kind of addicting, and I say kind of. It is highly addicting. It's so good. But yes, that is the one sponsor, and then the other sponsor is, as always, me. This shirt is still up. I think I'm just gonna keep it. I like it too much to take it down. It was supposed to be an exclusive for the month, and it's been 2 months now. So this once exclusive shirt is just gonna stay up on the store. Go check out the show notes if you want to go purchase your. It's on multiple things, not just on t-shirts. It's on hoodies. It's on. I have a couple of different shirts, a couple of different hoodies, and stickers, and I think I even put this one on a coffee mug. It's just an awesome shirt. I'm super proud of the design, and yeah, so that is the obligatory bits. Next week, as far as programming goes, is going to be even more tight than this week was than last week was, because I don't have anything in the can to edit. So I might shoot a couple of reaction videos. I don't think we're going to have time for a news video though, sadly. We might have to, depending on if anything really crazy breaks out, like the passing of a music icon or the opening box office numbers for potentially the biggest movies of the year. All of that kind of necessitated this week's episode, but next week's episode, I don't know that anything crazy is going to happen. So might not be a proper episode next week, sadly. That being said, there will be something. So we'll see you nerds then. Until that point, thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. We will see you when we see you next time. Before we go, always remember that if it is generally nerdy, it is probably here.